I was just driving home from my job, and I was thinking about how I got in this position that I'm in. And I was doing a bit of reflecting. I was thinking about everything. And everything I've ever done over the past 2 years of growth, there's one skill, one principle, one thing that every action I've took has in common. One thing. And it's consistency. And I've told this story a video ago, but I want to hone in on how consistency has gotten me here. And I wanted to make a whole video about it. I've been growing for the past 2 years, and that date, there's no specific date when I started. There's no picture in my gallery. There's no note in my journal saying I am starting growing on this date. But I would say it's about 2 years ago. Where was I 2 years ago? It's crazy to think about. I felt as though it just happened. But the whole reason I made this page was because of my anger issues. I've had anger issues my whole life. I lost my ex-girlfriend of 6 months because of my anger issues. And 18 years of counseling, therapy, deep breathing, whatever people told me did not work. It took myself to change. And I sound like a broken record when I say it, but this life that you see on Instagram, on TikTok, whatever you see, it's not as far away as you think it is. It just takes compounding. I just did a podcast with somebody named Chase, and he told me that he read this book called The Compound Effect. And I said, Chase, what's the biggest gem, or what's the biggest thing that you got out of this book? And he said that everything compounds. If you go to McDonald's and you eat a cheeseburger one time, you're not going to die of a heart attack. If you wake up one day and do absolutely nothing, you're not going to be nowhere. If you go to work and you listen to a podcast, you're not going to completely change your life. But now we take this one day and we expand it over 30 years. If you get a cheeseburger every single day from McDonald's for 30 years, you will have a heart attack. If you do absolutely nothing for 30 years, then nothing is going to compound. 2 times 0 is still 0. Nothing is going to compound. But what I did, if you listen to a podcast every single time you work for 2 years, for me it was 2 years, it was not 30 years. For 2 years, of course I'm in the position I'm in, because it's been compounding for 2 years. Let's go back. My anger issues. February of 2024 is when we broke up. And what made it so pivotal is that not only did I just got broken up with, so I'm dealing with, oh, she hurt me, I'm so hurt, I'm never going to get out of this, the whole breakup thing. I'm dealing with that. I'm dealing with, I have to see her at work still, because we still work together. And I'm also trying to figure out, why is my anger issues the way that it is? Why is it that when I look around at every single one of my peers, every single person I've ever interacted with, why is it that none of them, not one person, would get angry the same way that I would? Why is that? That single statement, that single mindset, that single framework that I had single-handedly is what fixed my anger issues. There's other things that worked, but putting it flat like that, why is it? Why is it that nobody else around me gets angry the way that I do? And then I looked at myself. That's not the topic of the video, but I was able to look at myself. I looked at my flaws. That's when I started growing. I don't know why I chose to do it, but I started listening to podcasts. I believe a mindset that I had is, oh, she hurt me, I gotta work on myself. Oh, she hurt me, let me read books. I have 2 different YouTube playlists that I never touched of different books that I wanted to read. Somewhere in my Google Docs, there's a Google document of all these different books. This section. I did it of importance. I watched several videos on books, of self-improvement books. These are S tier, these are A tier, these are still good, but read them later. I tracked it out. Okay, all these books together is this many pages. If I listen to audiobook, because I was not going out of my way to read these books. I would look at these audiobooks up on YouTube. Okay, all these audiobooks is 30 hours. If I divide it up like this and I do this many hours, this many minutes, I will finish all of these books by the end of the year. And I'm not going to sit here and lie and act like I did it. I did not do that. I did not do that. But that was the start of something big. Look where it's brought me. 2 years of growth like that, even if I didn't do it, even if I did not read one of those books, that's a step in the right direction. You have to start. I could sit here and go, oh, I can't start a podcast until I have this guest, or I can't start until I know how to public speak, or I can't start until I have a studio and 4 cameras and one's on a little roller thing so it rolls and it sees me, and I have somebody doing a little technician so they cut the clip every time I talk. You can't wait, brother. There is no perfect time. You'll be waiting for the rest of your life. That's imperfect action. We cannot see our own flaws if we're not aware of our flaws. My first 2 podcasts I did, I took the entire transcript, I put it into AI, I said, hey, here's the entire transcript of both of these podcasts. Name every single flaw that I did. And it named them. And I'm not going to sit here and lie and act like it didn't hurt my ego and my soul. This AI is giving me back these things that I did wrong, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I did do that wrong. Dang, I'm a terrible podcaster. I can't do this. I'm so bad. How did I make that mistake? All of this. But the sooner that you're able to recognize these mistakes and then fix them, that does dividends. If I never had that relationship that helped me fix my anger, I would more than likely still have anger issues. I would not be fixed. It took that relationship for me to self-reflect. Don't wait. You have to always be analyzing yourself. You have to. If you're not aware of a flaw, the flaw's not going to change. It took a breakup for... I knew my anger issues was a problem, but it took a breakup for me to fix it. If I didn't throw my things into AI and ask it 3 episodes in, hey, what am I doing wrong? Then that doing the wrong things, they would have compounded. And that's a negative compound. Attacking these things early on while I'm 3 episodes in and not 300 is huge. If you're consistently improving, consistently trying to find flaws in yourself to improve, to get better, consistency is all you need. Every principle of my life goes back to consistency. We stopped at the books. Again, I couldn't tell you what happened when. I know in that frame, May to September, there was an audiobook on YouTube called Emotional Intelligence 2.0. And I had that audiobook pulled up. And then I had a Google document pulled up. My brother, I wrote down basically the entire book, bullet pointed, beautiful list. The entire book. Not the entire book. 3 hours of the 4-hour audiobook. 2 hours. I transcribed on my own manually 2 hours of this 4-hour audiobook. And I had to watch it in 0.5 speed, sometimes slower, because bro's talking fast. It's an AI reading the book, but bro's talking fast. And I sat there and I wrote down every single bullet point. And did I write down a lot of fluff? Yes. But I wanted to change my anger issues. And that book helped me so much because I wanted to grow. At this point, I've been listening to podcasts at work for a long time. And I was just saying to myself in the car that I just went back. I looked at my Spotify Wrapped because Spotify Wrapped has this incredible feature where if you listen to podcasts, it'll tell you how many minutes of podcasts you've listened to. In 2024, I listened to 25,000 minutes of podcasts. And in 2025, I listened to 10,000 minutes of podcasts. And I'm not going to sit on here and lie. I like to boost my ego and just call it 40,000. It sounds better than 35,000 minutes of podcasts. But I listened to 35,000 minutes of podcast. That effort, it compounds. Let's go back to the story. About this time of 2024, I'm doing car photography. In June, July of 2024, I buy a new camera, a new lens, a new filter. And the first photo shoot I did with that camera, lens, and filter, it wasn't terrible, but it was decent. It wasn't, for my skills, it was the best photo shoot I've done up until that point. But between that photo shoot in July and my last one I did in March, the same camera, the same lens, the same filter, the efforts of me taking pictures every day, they compounded. Oh, when I take a picture, don't do this. Make sure your f-stop is this. ISO this. The same thing. Every single time for 9 months. Give or take 9 months doing the same thing. My first photo shoot and my last photo shoot with the exact same camera. A complete 180 difference between the two photo shoots. And why is that? Because I was consistent. I was consistent at learning my flaws and fixing my flaws. Oh, very specifically, I shot a front end of a car and I did it in 18 mm. I did it at a very wide angle. And I look at the picture and I go back, oh, the front of the car looks warped because the lens is so wide it warps the front of the car. Oh, so next time I do a photo shoot, don't shoot the front end of the car so wide. Go back a bit. Do it at 35. Do it at 50. Recognizing that flaw as soon as it happened and then fixing it. And I do that with every single aspect of car photography. Of course I'm going to get better. Of course the two photo shoots that have been 9 months apart are two completely different photo shoots. Because those skills and the consistency, they compound. There's 3 key things in this entire video. Learning your flaws, the efforts compound because you're doing it consistently. If you want to change your life, that's all you need. That's all you need. That's all it is. I'm living proof of that. Let's keep going. Car photography. March of 2025. At this point, I knew my skills were good. I wanted to shoot a Lamborghini, a Ferrari. My skills were at that point. I just had to get somebody who wanted to do it. I'm blessed that I live very close to exotic car meets. This one's called Bulls and Bagels at a Lamborghini dealership. The first one I went to, I met somebody, and he said that the first and only person I met said that he drove from Kentucky to this car meet. And for me, it's 30 minutes away. So how blessed am I? Completely irrelevant. But how blessed am I? Let's keep going. If these people at these car meets, they have Lamborghinis, let me talk to them. I've DM'd between 30 and 40 people on Instagram. Hey, Lamborghini, I love it. Let me shoot it. I'd love to shoot sometime. Let's make something work. Hey, brother, I saw your car. Blah, blah, blah. I want to shoot it. 30 to 40 DMs. And I approached 10 to 15 more people in person. That's another thing. Consistency, finding your flaws, and they compound. The very first few people that I approached to propose the idea of a photo shoot with, I would immediately jump into it. Yo, bro, I'd love to do a photo shoot. I found out that comes off as transactional. Oh, what just happened? We learned the flaw, we fix the flaw, and then we repeat. Oh, that's not good. Don't do that. Do something different next time. And then this new thing that I'm doing next time, I do it consistently. I get better at it. The first time I approached somebody for a photo shoot for a car, it was probably bad. And the last time I did it, it was definitely better than the first one. Because my efforts are consistently compounding. Eventually, I learned that I should establish rapport. Obviously, if they have the car, they like it. They probably want to talk about it. Oh, this is your Ferrari. Okay, why did you buy this one? What do you like about it? Why is the paint black? And then I jump into it. And then I found out later, oh, why don't I come prepared, have a gallery on my phone of my best shots from my portfolio? So I do that the next time. Oh, hey, Tom, I love your Ferrari, blah, 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 talking about it. Yo, Tom, so actually, I do car photography, and I'd love to have the privilege of shooting your Ferrari sometime, and here's my gallery, here's some of my work if you want to check it out. And then I get better at it. From doing it consistently, not giving up the first time, not looking at the first interaction and going, oh, I can't approach people. I'm not the kind of person to approach people. No. What were my flaws with my first approach? How do I make them better and do that consistently? That's all it is. Let's keep going. June, July, August of 2025. One day I wake up. If this person has a Lamborghini and this person has a Ferrari, these people aren't any different than me. But how did they get these cars? So I start interviewing them. And my very first interviews, I didn't document them, no voice memos. I would ask them, if you were 20 years old, I would ask them, if you're 20 years old, what advice would you give to your 20-year-old self? No, I'm 19 years old. I'm about to turn 20. What advice would you give to your 20-year-old self? And that's the first and only question I would use. And I got some really good advice out of that. And this lit a fire underneath me of doing this. Okay, how do I get better? You guys see a theme here. How do I get better? What questions should I ask? What questions should I not ask? So now I have a list of questions in the back of my mind of things I get to ask these people. Oh, let's look back at the voice memos. Now that I have a stack of voice memos. Oh, I'm nervous when I do this. I talk way too fast. Let me be more self-aware of that. When I go to these shoots, let me prepare for that. Let me talk slower. Let me be self-aware, fix a problem, and do it consistently. Now that I've put in so many reps of being self-aware of talking slower when I do these interviews, I'm gonna get better. Oh, when I asked this question, I question stacked. I asked 3 questions in 1 question. Oh, that's not good. Let me not do that. Oh, when I did this interview, I stuttered. I got nervous. I rambled on with my question. Let me not do that. My first interview and my last one are 2 very, very different interviews. Why is that? What changed? My skills did. I didn't look at the first interview and go, I can't do this. I'm not built for this. I'm not cut out for this. I looked at the first interview. I looked for the flaws. What did I do wrong? I was self-aware of those flaws. I changed them. And then I implemented my new skills into the next interview. I almost get chills thinking about my last interview. I approached this guy. Let's just make a fake name. Let's say I approached Tom. Hey Tom, I come to these events, I do these interviews. Can I get a minute of your time? Blah, blah, blah. He says, sure. And obviously a cold approach like this to anybody is gonna be a little bit off-putting. And I understand that. What the question I used to start off with is, I'm a dishwasher. How do I become a Tom? First of all, I self-reflected and I thought, that question sounds too much. Like, I don't want to do the work. I want them to give me a laid out path instead of me thinking. So I stopped doing that question. It's the little things like that I would always do. And now my new question that I do, if I already know the person, it's different, but a new question that I do is the baseline. If I have nothing to go off of, I say, what line of business are you in? So I can actually feed off of something. Or, obviously, Tom, the stress and pressure of business. If you scooped up the average Joe from the street and threw him in your business, threw him in your position, that stress would crumble him. So Tom, how do you deal with the stress, deal with the pressure during a bad week, a bad month, a bad year? Deal with the stress. Deal with the rut of this negative position you're in business. And then continue to grow it. Because that's fascinating to me. How do they do it? I know on paper they're not gonna quit the business because of a stressful period. Maybe some might, but they're not going to. But how did they build that callus? Let's go back to Tom. I asked Tom, what line of business are you in? Forgive me, I forget, but he says something to the effect of, he's a sales manager or representative, and he looks over 300 people in sales. So then I ask him that. Let me backpedal. From doing this new podcasting thing, from doing previous interviews, I understand, here we go, finding the flaws, changing them, the efforts compound, consistency. I lost my train of thought. Praise the Lord. Tom, I would ask him a question. I found out through podcasting that instead of having a script of questions that I should just boom, 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 if Tom says something that he's in sales, go back off of that. Oh, Tom, you're in sales? Tom, what is the single biggest applicable piece of sales advice that you use every single day that impacts you the most? Going off of what they say, because if they just said something, they probably are open to continuing to talk about that. If I just told you I'm in sales and then you pivot to anything but sales, that's weird. If I just said something about sales and then you further ask me something about sales, oh, I'm on fire. I'm going to talk to you about some sales, my boy. Let me put you on. Let's go back to Tom. So Tom, if you have 300 people you have to look over, how do you deal with that stress, Tom? Well, what I like to do is I like to go outside. I like to exercise. I feel like exercise helps me so much. Check this out. Okay, Tom, there's somebody out there who doesn't exercise, who doesn't reap the benefits of exercising. You reap the benefits of exercising because you do it. What would you tell somebody who isn't doing it, who isn't getting off that couch? What is it like to reap the benefits of exercise? Oh, why am I doing it? Because it clears my mind. I think I'm very grateful and very blessed to have an able body. If you're able-bodied and you're not working out and you're not getting active, then you're doing yourself a disservice. Look at what I did here. Tom, I love that answer. We can't understand how grateful we are for our bodies because we have them. I don't know how blessed I am to have 2 hands and 2 feet because I don't not have 2 feet. And then he further went to bounce off of that. It lit me on fire. It gave me chills knowing that I gave Tom the opportunity to talk about something that he loves, that he was passionate about, that he did, that he wanted to talk about. But the only reason that I was able to do that was from the months of doing this prior, the months of looking at previous voice memos, looking at what I did wrong, what I did right, what I should improve, what should I not improve. I didn't look at my first interview and go, I'm not cut out for this, this isn't for me. No, I looked at my flaws. What are my flaws? Okay, here are my flaws. Let's change them. What can we do differently? What can improve? To think I used to give 1 question interviews, no voice memo, raw dog, whatever. And now because my efforts have compounded over months and months and months, that I am so good at asking questions, knowing what these people want to talk about. I used to read off a script. Here's this question. I'm going to ask this, and then close with this. But from doing the same thing for months on end, now I know if somebody just said something, bounce off of that. If Tom just told me he likes to exercise, bounce off of that. What can I pull out of there? How deep can I go? Because I promise you, like Shrek said, there's onions, or there's layers. Tom is one big onion, and I'm trying to pull back his layers. And by the gods, I'm getting pretty good at understanding these onions. I'm getting pretty good at it. Before, I used to just peel back the surface of the first onion. But now this onion is getting small because I'm getting rid of so many layers. I don't know where that analogy came from. I felt it in the moment. I had to keep it going. If you've listened to this video, you understand that thing. I don't need to say it again, but I'm going to say it again. If you have flaws, and you know their flaws. If you don't know their flaws, ask somebody else. Tell somebody else. I didn't want to say this, but ask AI. AI is what helped me understand the flaws of my podcast. If I didn't throw my transcript into AI for it to tell me, okay, you did X, Y, Z, A, B, and C, 1, 2, and 3 all wrong, I would be making the same mistakes. Right now, I've done 3 podcasts. I'm going to do a 4th soon. The very first podcast I did, and my 25th podcast, 100th podcast, thousands, I give up. My 900th podcast are going to be 3 very different people. But why is that? Because you find the flaws, you change them now, and you build that consistently because it's going to compound. I know this because I listened to 35,000 minutes of podcast. Chris Williams, Modern Wisdom, said in a podcast that some people may ask him, oh, you're just so naturally good at asking questions. Oh, you're just so... You just have so much talent when it comes to getting these answers out of people. How do you do it? My brother, he has 1,000 podcast episodes. He's put in not even 1,000 reps. Every episode is between an hour and almost 4 hours. I'm not going to do the math because I'm too lazy to, but that amount, if he does what I do, then he's going to grow. He's gonna grow. I'm growing right now. My first interview and my last interview. 2 different interviews. Why? I wasn't cut out to be the person who can interview. I built the skills of the person who can interview. And now I'm that person. But I'm still improving. I can sit here and go, I fixed my anger issues. I fixed that, what I thought was a permanent problem about me, and I fixed it. I'm not going to sit here on a high pedestal and go, oh, I know everything about anger. I know every nook and cranny. No. You got to drop the ego. That's huge too. You have to drop the ego. I can sit here and be open-minded. Oh, what if I know nothing about anger issues? What if every single point I've ever made in every video about anger is just wrong? I'd be open-minded to that. Because everything I've done was on my own. Every self-discovery part of my anger was on my own. They could all very well be wrong. Being able to take constructive criticism about what you're doing, about your flaws, is huge. Because you can have Joey, and then you can have Bowie. Joey sits here, and when you tell him a flaw, he goes, oh, that's right. I am wrong. You are right. Thank you for pulling out that flaw in me. I never saw that in myself. And then you have Bowie right here. Oh, that's not true. You're not going to talk to me like that. Whoever. You know what you just did there? You just attacked Bowie's ego. You just hit him right in his soul. Because Bowie is attached to that. Bowie's attached to that. He can't drop his ego, look at it from a full perspective and go, oh, I am wrong. Bowie is attached to his opinions. And that is a dangerous place to be. Do you know why? If I did my first photo shoot and thought I made no mistake, if I did my first interview and thought I made no mistake, if I did my first podcast and thought I made no mistake, that's a dangerous place to be. You know why? That's going to compound. If you have 30 years of not accepting the truth of what other people are trying to tell you, 30 years of being so attached to your opinions and the things that you think are true so much that you don't change them for 30 years. My brother, no. Don't go down that path. Because I reap the benefits of otherwise. My interviews, my podcast, my car photography. You could pull Joe Schmo off the side of the street and have him look at my photo and tell me, oh, that's wrong. Oh, Joe Schmo doesn't know anything about car photography, but I would still be open-minded. Oh, Joe Schmo, you're right. I never thought of it that way. Maybe I am wrong. Maybe this is the worst picture I ever taken in my life. Thank you for opening my mind to that. But no, so many people want to sit here and go, no, you're wrong. I'm right. My opinion is always right. I can't change. I'm going to be straight up. I don't like those people because those people cannot change. You cannot tell that person anything and they won't listen to you. I'm getting fired up. I don't like to talk negatively or talk down on people, but it frustrates me. If you take I just said the example. If I were to have never changed my podcast, my interviews, my car photography, if I were to have never changed, never self-reflected and looked at my flaws and then changed, nothing would have changed. And that's not good. That's not good. I didn't hold on to my opinions and my beliefs about how I interview and car photography and hold on to them. I didn't look at Joe Schmo, and just because Joe Schmo doesn't do car photography doesn't mean he can't at least give me a new perspective. If you say a really good podcaster came up to me and told me, hey Joey, you're doing this wrong in your podcast. If you cannot look at Mr. Podcaster with an open mind and go, oh, if he has a top 10 podcast, he's probably right. If you can't do that, if you still look at Mr. Podcast and go, no, you're wrong. You don't know anything about podcasting. I know everything about podcasting. You're not going to change my mind. You're set up for failure, bro. I'm giving it to you straight. You're set up for failure. You have to break that belief and you have to break that system now because that's going to compound. That negative outcome is going to compound, and that is not the kind of compounding that you want, my brother. Find your flaws. Do the same thing consistently. And you will be a whole new person, a whole new set of skills, a whole new environment by doing it consistently. Do you know why I'm in the position that I'm in? One of the interviews sparked a little window of opportunity. And I saw that window, and I jumped through it. I jumped through that window. The second you said that W part of the window, the second you said that what, I'm already jumping. I'm already halfway through the window. Because I wasn't deterred from the first interview. Because I didn't look at the first interview and go, I can't interview people. At least with voice memos, I've done 28 interviews. 27. One of them was a rejection, but I kept it there. I've done 27 documented interviews. Of course, one of them landed me an opportunity. Because I was consistent with it. Of course, an outcome came out of my consistent efforts. Because I was consistently doing it. It's still a little surprising to me, but it's also not really surprising to me that I have this opportunity because of my interviews. Because I was consistent with it. Bare minimum. It's been, oh my gosh. 9 months. 7 to 9 months I've been doing this. Of course an outcome has come out of it. I've been doing it consistently. I would tell myself that all the time. I would do this for years if it means that I get to be in an opportunity where I'm not working. I'm working in a different kind of environment, whether it's sales, whatever. That opportunity was there. But you know what? That opportunity, that window, it didn't have my name on it. That window that I jumped through, it didn't have Joey jump through this window at this date, at this time. I saw that window. I saw that it was open. I knew it was open in the back of my mind a little bit because of my consistency. And if you need your name over that window in order to jump through it, that's a problem too. There was no window with my name on it. That opportunity that I had, it didn't have my name on it. I went to that opportunity. I've put in effort to get to this opportunity. I wanted this opportunity more than this opportunity wanted me. Of course I jumped through that window because I wanted it so bad. Because I listened to 35,000 minutes of podcast. Because I wanted this so bad. Because I've been interviewing these entrepreneurs at these car meets for 9 months because I wanted to grow so bad. I'm not going to repeat the theme of this video. You know it by now. And if you don't, that's a problem. It's clear to me that I'm in the position that I'm in. I know exactly how I got here. I'm going to say this for a whole other video, but the gratitude and the thankfulness that I have for my position, it's real. You can't... How blessed am I that I get the opportunity to interview these entrepreneurs? I could be living somewhere in like Minnesota or West Virginia where entrepreneurs and people like this are slim to none. How blessed am I that twice, almost 3 times a month, I have opportunities like this open for me? That's a whole other video. But if you've made it this far, I'm proud of you. There is not really a sort of semi-specific goal with this video. I was talking about consistency, but obviously it's leaned more towards figuring out problems, solving them, and then consistently taking in more effort, more steps. So that way you get better. I learned that one day these videos will blow up. If not blow up, they'll get views. There will be a day where these videos are watched all the way through. Some people will hate, some people will love it. Right now they get less than 10 views. I could care less about the views because one of those 10 people who watched it resonated with them. They clicked on it because they wanted to hear it. I'm grateful for that. I have 2 YouTube channels now. This one's JT Wisdom Raw. I post raw content, whatever I'm feeling, whatever I want to talk about. Obviously, Exhibit A, if we're here. And then I made a whole separate YouTube channel for my podcast because I was told that's professional. If I have these random videos split between podcasts and this and that, we can't be having that. But very blessed to be in the position that I'm in right now. Where will I be in a month from now? Only time will tell. I'll put God first and I'll see where he takes me. That's everything, guys. I love y'all boys. Y'all take care.